I left Alberta and my family at 18 years old to pursue a life of adventure. For the next 18 years, I rarely looked back. I was off creating films about solo adventure travel as a woman. Sailing to Antarctica, surfing the chilly winter in New Zealand, exploring the Amazon rainforest, engaging in conservation in Kenya. And then I got a call that my grandma was passing away. I made the long journey home to her side. My grandma's entire family was there, a true testament to what she meant to each of us. At her funeral, as I was watching a photo display of my grandma's life,
this is her in China.
There they were, photo after photo of her, an Indigenous Canadian, in these exotic locales.
Where in Africa is she?
A distant relative saw my shock, confiding to me, "Apolla, that's where you get your adventurous spirit from." What? Why am I just hearing this now? This new revelation of Grandma's life in her death made me want to know so much more about her. I know she provided a lot of love in my life. But as a woman, what do I actually know about her? I know that my grandma was Métis, the half-caste mixture of Cree and French that is particular to Canada, but she never spoke about it. I took a DNA test and confirmed my Native American heritage. Now I'm trying to understand what part of our personalities might come from our Indigenous roots. The next stage was to return to Alberta to speak to the women who were raised with and by Doreen Delphine Dumont.
Hi.
Oh, it's so great to see you.
My mom and my Aunt Janine always have great intel about my grandma and the resilient women in our family.
You know, she came from a line of strong women in that area because her grandma was really, well, I would say dominant. And she said the men weren't living with them very much. So the women were independent.
Because the men weren't around, or because that's just who they were?
That's maybe why the men weren't around.
My mom has arranged for me to meet with Patsy and Jackie for the first time. They are my grandma's cousins and grew up with her in Drumheller. I'm hoping they can shed some light on who my grandma was as a young girl.
My parents weren't functioning, and so, you know, your mom and Gordy took care of us.
I thought she was beautiful, she was tall, I wanted to be like her.
You look so much like her.
That's a compliment.
Why was she allowed to be so dynamic and athletic and adventurous?
She was quite strong-minded and did what she wanted, I guess.
I don't even recognize that something is not possible. That if I feel like I want to do it, I'm going to find a way to do it.
Well, there you go, there's part of grandma.
Right?
There you go, there's part of your grandma.
It seems to me like in those days, women were more timid, but I am...
Yeah, not Doreen, no. Not Doreen. She played hockey also on a women's hockey team. She was not a gentle hockey player. Doreen Delphine Dirty Devil Dumont.
My grandma taught herself to skate. As a young girl, she walked to the frozen river carrying borrowed hockey skates and stayed out for hours until she was nearly frostbitten. It seemed like she was strong because of and in spite of this tough environment where you had to fight to have an identity.
When I do my ancestry test, it just says Native American blood.
We are Cree.
Grandma's birth certificate says half-breed.
You didn't want to be known as native or half-breed or, you didn't want to do that.
When I was young, I would not wear red because every cowboy and Indian show they had, the natives always had red on. I didn't want to wear red because I didn't want to be one of them.
Doreen, she was dissociated from her ancestry. She loved the land, but her connections to her Aboriginal, her native roots were really hard for her.
Grandma was shunning where she came from, never speaking about it and disconnecting from it, this huge part of her heritage. I guess, in a way, I've done the same thing by embarking on a life that takes me away from my family, from Alberta.
This is Mom's spot. She just had no fear. Just similar to you, Apolla, no fear.
My grandma's strength did come from her roots, not only from her native lineage, but from her connection with the women who raised her and the nature she surrounded herself with.
When I came back and got to talk to her and see her, and she whispered something to me at the very end that she was like, I've loved watching your adventures. And yeah, I think I was her favorite. No, I'm joking.
Going back and learning about my grandma has been like erupting this volcano of vulnerability, because she meant so much to me. This feeling of pride for my Indigenous roots, the connection to these incredible women, and this awe-inspiring land are lasting gifts that my grandma left for me. Grandma, thank you for giving me such strong shoulders to stand on.